All right, hello everyone, and welcome to our Sunday video. We're talking Fed history, and we're talking, even though, well, this hasn't been Fed history yet, this is a little bit of history about the market, PD, Florence, South Carolina, kind of looking at how hockey was back in the day, back in yesteryear, and yeah, I don't know if it's necessarily a gauge on how things will go in the future with the SPHL, but nonetheless, we did do Topeka about 3 weeks ago, and so this is one of the other new teams. Now, of course, the other new team that we haven't covered yet is Indiana, and that's a first-time market, so there is no hockey history to talk about there. But we do have some hockey to talk about with the PD region. Now, a lot of people ask me, well, what's PD? What does that mean? That comes from the name of the local watershed that is in the area, the PD River and its tributaries, and those are named after an indigenous tribe of people, the PD Nation. So, anyway, that's a little background on that. So, if anybody still has questions on that, there you go. That's the origin of the name PD. A lot of people saying, well, why don't you just call it Florence? Well, Florence has a very flowery kind of air to it. And, hockey team Florence, whatever. I don't know. Hockey's meant to be tough and rough and tumble, and, Florence just doesn't do it. So we go with PD, which I know that kind of sounds a little cutesy as well, but hey, whatever. All right, let's get into the past history. Now, the Florence Civic Center was built in 1993, and that was built primarily to bring sports to the area, but also other entertainment venues as well. There's some very famous WWE matches that have gone on there, if you follow that kind of thing. Concerts, of course, and whatnot. Conventions. But the big attraction was sports. Basketball first, and arena football, which hasn't had exactly a great track record in the area, and then hockey. All right, so a few years after the arena was built in 1993, as I said there, seating for hockey 74-26, the ECHL, which was at that point still a very young league, came in. The Knoxville Cherokees, which were one of the original ECHL franchises. Things just weren't working out in that community anymore, so they decided, hey, brand new facility in Florence, looks like a growing area, let's move there. And for the first few years, things went very, very well. Team was named the PD Pride. You've probably seen the lion logo floating around, especially when news came about that there was going to be a Fed team in PD. Everyone was like, hey, let's call it the Pride. Well, somebody holds those rights. But nonetheless, the paw print that you see and the lion with the Ice Cats logo is kind of a nod, an homage to the Pride, but it's still a new and its own identity. So that's pretty cool. All right, so the PD Pride start play in 1997, and the first few years, they were very good, very competitive team. For some reason, things fizzled out very quickly. As we'll go through the years, we'll talk about it. All right, 1997 and 98, team had a record of 34, 25, and 11. That was good for third place in the ECHL's Southeast Division. Now, the ECHL at this point in time was about 21, 22 teams every year. The PD Pride lost in the second round. Now, coach, if you followed hockey to any degree over the last 15, 20 years, you're familiar with this name, Jack Capuano. Yep, he of New York Islanders fame. He was the coach of the Islanders for quite a few years, 7 years, or parts of 7 years. Plus, he was also an assistant in Florida, in Ottawa, and last year in Minnesota. So, he's had a good coaching career in the NHL, but he started off here with the PD Pride. And the team drew well. Now, you had a first-year market, not a lot of time to market it because Knoxville came in kind of late, very late spring. Not a whole lot of time to do a brand new marketing schematic for the area. 53-55 was the average attendance. Very good for a first-year minor league club, especially in a new market. So, good start. Second year, things get even better. The team finishes 51-15-4. That was first in the Southeast. They lost in the semifinals. Now, when I say semifinals, that was the fourth round. Much like right now, how the AHL has 5 rounds of playoffs, ECHL did back then as well. So, you basically say they went to the fourth round. But that was the semifinals. Jack Capuano, once again, coaching the team. Attendance goes up 57-19. And why not? With a great record like that, 51 wins in a 70-game season, pretty darn good. Now, we get to the next season, and Capuano starts off as coach, but then later on, it's Frank Anzalone who becomes the coach. That's the 1999 to 2000 season. Still another very, very good club. 47-18-5. That's second in the Southeast. It's amazing. They were 2 points behind. They only got to the second round, bowed out. 51-65 in attendance. So those are good numbers those first few years. But you see, it's a little down from the year before. From 57-19 to 51-65. But nobody's concerned at that point. When we got to the fourth season, 2000-2001, team was good, not as good. 38-28-6. They were fourth in the Southeast Division. Went to the third round of the playoffs and lost. Now this year, you had Frank Anzalone starting off the year. And then things weren't really going that great. So Davis Payne is brought in, and he lit a fire under the team, and they, ended up getting into the playoffs and making a deep run. But the problem is the attendance fell off, big time, 4,013. Now people are starting to get a little concerned. But okay, well, let's see what happens next year. Well, next year, the team is a little bit better on ice, 41-25-6, second in the Southeast. Lost in the third round. Again, kind of going deep in the playoffs. Davis Payne, doing good as a coach. But attendance falls down to 33-38. So in 2 seasons, we've lost an average of 1,800 fans per game. I don't know why. Maybe someone out there knows what was going on. Was there some problems with upper management? Was there not enough marketing being done? I don't know. But if as a casual outside observer looking at these, I'm looking at these numbers going, what happened? So, next season, 2002 to 2003, 40-26-6. Still an excellent club. Third in the Southeast, lost in the second round. Again, Davis Payne is the coach. Now attendance is below 3,000. What a fall off. This is just like a car going over a cliff. All right, so season 7. The team changed its name because I think people were starting to understand, we got to shake some stuff up. But really, one of the only changes, only a couple of changes, really. One was changing the name to the Florence Pride, getting rid of the PD. I guess maybe management at that time felt like PD was too generic, too abstract. I don't know. But anyway, so the Florence Pride this year, not a great season, not a horrible season either. 30, 33, and 9. But that was 6th in the South. And the South Division. It's now instead of Southeast Division, now it's the South Division. Didn't qualify for the playoffs. Perry Florio became the new coach that year. And, again, that's not a horrible record, but it's not great. Obviously, not good enough to make the playoffs. But now attendance has fallen in more than half from its peak 6 seasons earlier. Now we're at 2505. And things are not looking good. ECHL, a little concerned about what's going on. Starts looking at neighboring communities. All right, we go to the 2004 to 05 season. Team, again, not great, not horrible. 31, 36, and 5. They're kind of meh. 5th in the East Division. Yeah, now they're in the East Division. Did not qualify for the playoffs. Perry Florio again is the coach. Attendance went up a little bit, 2660, but still, you're in an arena seating 7,400, and you're only drawing, 2,600 in. So the ECHL said this just isn't working out anymore. So the team was going to move to Myrtle Beach, just southeast, about an hour or so. Maybe 2 hours. I don't know what the exact distance between Florence and Myrtle Beach, but it's not that far. All right, so they were going to become, the Myrtle Beach, I think it was the Thunderbolts. I can't remember the name, but anyway, there was a new arena that was going to be built, but a lot of political snafus. Construction is halted. The league looks at things and said, we're not going to be able to play this next year. So we're just going to kind of take back ownership of the team, being the league, that is, and we'll hold off for now. Well, Myrtle Beach never played another game. So when they left Florence, that was it. So there's obviously a void now. But the SPHL, which was a very young league, in fact, just in its 2nd season, said, hey, that'd be a great market for our new league. So let's put a team there. Called them the PeeDee's Cyclones. And so in the 2005 to 2006 season, we've got a different league, different team, different ownership, different coach. The coach is now Mark Richards. And, of course, we've gone from a 70-game season to a 56-game season. So the team, not very good. Finishes 16, 33, and 7. That's 6th place out of a 7-team league. But the 6 teams made it to the playoffs. So PD qualifies for the playoffs. Wins the first round. Loses in the second. And that was it. Attendance, not good. 1450. Not good enough. So the following year, I forgot to mention, one of the players on this team was Trevor Karasevich, who we've mentioned on this page quite a number of times. The assist guy from the Akwesasne Warriors and the New Jersey Outlaws and Williamsport Outlaws. Yeah, he was on this team. He was the 3rd or 4th leading scorer on the team, I believe. All right, so the following season, more of the same. Not very good. 16, 32, and 8. So basically, they improved by 1 point. Finished 7th out of 8 teams. Did not qualify for the playoffs. And the team was coached part of the year by Mark Richards and part of the year by Chris Crombie. Average attendance, again, 1450. So SP said, this isn't working out. We've got an interested party in Winston-Salem that would be willing to take on a team. Let's move the Cyclones there. They become the Twin City Cyclones and only lasted 1 year. And that was it. So, that was, again, 2007. So, it has been 18 seasons since we have had hockey in PD. Now, a lot of people going, well, if attendance fell off like this, is it going to work? Well, remember, different economic models, different budgets. So with the Fed, yeah, I am pretty confident that it's going to work out. I think if the team averages 3,000 per game this year, I'm sure they want more. I'm sure they can get more, but I'm just using that kind of as a base figure. If they average 3,000 in attendance this year, I think they're going to be in good shape. So, obviously, Parker Mescal saw something in the market. He looked at a community that had hockey for a long time, and for a few years it drew very, very well. He said, hey, it worked in Monroe. Let's make it work in PD. So that's what he's doing. So there you go. There were 7 players from PD Pride that ended up playing in the NHL. Just a handful of games, though. You had Mike Glumak, who played 40 games total for the St. Louis Blues, and Jay Mazur played 47 games altogether for the Vancouver Canucks. There were a few other players. You had Rick Bennett, played 15 games for the Rangers. Ryan Bast played 2 with the Flyers. Goaltender Paxton Schaefer played 3 with Boston. So, there were a few players that made a cameo, had a cup of tea in the NHL, but just didn't stick. But still, a representation of the PD area going up to the NHL. So it was a good thing. So again, I think hockey can be successful in this area. I really do. It is a very nice facility. If you've seen any pictures of the Florence Center, I think you'll agree. Pretty steep incline with the seatings, but it works. So we'll see how the Ice Cats do, and see what kind of numbers they put up, both on the ice and at the turnstiles. All right, so there is our history of hockey in the PD area. I hope you liked this and found it informative. Make sure to hit like and subscribe. Tell a friend. Tell them check out the Fed League Flash on YouTube. Always make sure follow me on Facebook, because that's where all the news gets printed up first, and then we talk about it here and on the Flash Audio Network. The links for that are on my Facebook page. All right, I'm Gary Ryan for the Fed League Flash. Thank you so much for watching and tuning in, and I hope you had a wonderful holiday weekend. Yep, it's about time to go back to work, though, right? All right, take care. We'll talk to you soon.